Welcome, everyone. We are here live with the one and only Leonard Powell. I call him Butch. And Butch is the founder and owner of Powell Consulting Group. And for the last 35 years, you've been designing solutions for, training solutions for management, like change management, team building, leadership development, and which is the one that I'm really interested in, which is diversity competence, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you've retired military. You were in the military for how long?
20 years.
20 years, okay?
Yeah.
And so you're a military officer and a staff intelligence officer.
Yeah, that was one of my duties. My primary specialty was military intelligence.
Okay.
And I worked as a staff intelligence officer, commanded intelligence field office here in Washington. And then the last part of my career, I did organizational development consulting.
Okay.
So that's where I cut my teeth
Right.
in the work that I'm doing now.
Right.
And when I retired, I just loved it. So it was just an easy segue and transition into what I'm doing now.
Okay, great. So you're doing the management consulting, diversity compliance. So can you explain a little bit how you got into that? Because obviously you have multiple streams of income,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so we want to focus on how you got there. Maybe also how, if you were starting out now, what would you do differently than you did versus, because you had active income first, then you went into the passive income, leveraged income, right?
Yeah.
And so what would you do differently?
Okay. Well, let me start at a different place, and where you hit on how did I come to start the business and
Right.
start the company when I retired from the Army. Obviously, for 20 years in the Army, I got a check every month.
Right.
And Congress decided how much money I was going to make every
Okay.
year. And I had absolutely no control over that, regardless how hard I worked, how little I worked, how good I was, how mediocre I was, I got the same money.
Right.
And so that some way didn't sit well because, I wanted to be able to do more with money than the military allowed me to do.
Yes.
So I grew up in Hampton, Virginia. My father was sixth grade education. My father had to drop out of school after sixth grade to help make a living so his sister could go to school, and because she had to go to boarding school and the family couldn't afford to pay for it, so he had to work to help the family
Right.
to send his sister to school, because boys, as he said, could make a living with their hands. Girls needed something in their heads.
Right.
So
Wow.
that was the family philosophy, and he had to give up. He enjoyed school, loved school, and wanted to go, but he had to give it up for his sister, for the family, and that's what he drilled in me. So he ended up owning a boat and being a waterman, followed his father, and he made a living in the Chesapeake Bay and Hampton Roads as a waterman,
Right.
working for himself always. From the time I was 5, I was out on the boat with him every day in the summers, and on Saturdays if he worked during the school year. And so I think that's where I gained an understanding of money.
Right.
That you work for yourself, you had to understand you had to manage money, because the day you made some, tomorrow you may make none. And you had to make your money last and to carry the family for the long haul.
Right.
And you were at the mercy of the elements. If it rained, if it stormed, you didn't work, you didn't make money.
Right.
If it was bad season, you didn't make as much money. So when you made money, you had to judiciously care for it,
Right.
so that your family could be supported.
Right.
And you couldn't just go spinning it up. So he always had a garden, and we raised fresh vegetables. My mother canned the food and vegetables. We raised pigs. My grandfather raised pigs for us, and so we killed pigs every year, 2 pigs, and we put the meat away so we could have it all year. And then on the boat we caught fish and stuff. We put them in the freezer, so we always had plenty of food.
Right.
And to cut down on the cost, to make sure that we were fed, and we were we ate well, and then he could use the money for the necessities and a few pleasures. So money management was crucial to our lifestyle.
Right.
And so on the boat with him as a kid, I learned all of that, and I had a unique role in the family. I was the oldest boy. I had 2 sisters who are twins and 3 years older than me.
Right.
But I was treated as the oldest child because I was the oldest male.
Right.
And I was involved in everything of the family business. I listened to my mom and dad talk. When they sitting down paying bills and did planning, I was always in the mix. So I was kind of an adult child. And at one year, my dad worked on another boat, and he hired me and crew, and had to fire an adult to hire me. Because he wasn't making as much money as he did on his boat.
Right.
But he wanted to keep that boat that summer because it was better for him in the winter to be captain of that boat.
Right. How old were you?
I was 15 then.
Okay.
So I worked as a grown man's wages,
Wow.
doing grown man's work, and my salary was figured as family money.
Right.
He never took a nickel from me. He never asked me for it, but I knew the calculus.
Right.
I knew that he had figured my money in as how much money the household was making when he made the decision to work that boat that summer.
Right.
So knowing that, I paid bills.
Oh.
I took responsibilities off of him. My mother didn't work in the summer, so he gave her no spending money. I gave her all of her spending money for that time. There were certain family bills that I took that he never saw, he never touched. And he treated me as an adult. I guess I was 16 because I had driver's license, and I could use the car without asking, and use it as though it were mine.
Wow.
And I had to be responsible, but I used my money. And then to have spending money for me, I worked at a car wash on Sundays and Saturdays when Saturday was available, to have some extra spending money for me. And even though I could take all of my money if I wanted, and spend it on me, but I never did. So it gave me a different relationship with money, and I always wanted my own, and I always wanted to have. And to have, I needed money. So I used to sell newspapers. I used to caddy at the golf course. If I couldn't get a bag, I would go look for lost balls and find lost balls. We call them hunting balls, and sell them. When it rained, we didn't have electric pumps like they do now on the boats. And so all of the other boaters, they lived an hour and a half away, and they needed to come down to pump the water out of the boat on the weekends when they weren't working, but they never came down because they knew the youngest captain on the waterfront, what they call me, they knew I would go look after their boats for them and pump the water out. And Monday when they came, they all gave me a little piece of money. I cut grass. I worked in the marine store down by the docks 1 year. I worked in the oyster house 1 year doing a grown man work as a teenager. I was always finding ways to make money, have my own. And from the time I was in junior high school, my dad never gave me money to buy clothes anymore. They never bought anything for me. I always bought my own.
Wow.
And when I went to college, he had 3 kids in Hampton, in college at the same time, and which was a big strain. We never borrowed money, never took a loan. I don't know how he did it that year, but I had used money I had saved up for the summer to help. And he got a bit of a small allowance when I needed money. But after that year, I took over. He never paid for me again.
Wow.
I paid my own way. I got a job on campus, and I paid my tuition for the rest of the way and graduated. And he never gave me anything. I mean, never had to worry about taking care of me.
Sure.
So I learned then the value of money and that you had to find a way to go get it. You had to be creative ways. I had to be willing to do anything. Money wasn't going to come in my bedroom and find me.
Right.
Money wasn't going to, just appear. I didn't want to ask for it, so I had to, and I wanted to do things. I wanted to have options in my life, and the options that money gave me. Not that I wanted to be bigger and better than everybody. I just wanted to have options so I could do some things that I wanted to do when I wanted to do them.
Right.
While I was at Hampton, I got a wonderful lesson from one of the professors who was a family friend. He just saw me out by the gas tanks one day, and he just stopped me and said, "Butch, what are you going to do when you graduate?" I said, "Well, I'm getting a commission. I'm going in the Army. I don't know how long I'm going to stay." And he said, "Look, here's a tip." He said, "Wherever you go, buy a house. And when you leave, you keep that house and rent it.
Right.
And you go to a new station, you buy another one.
Right.
And keep that one and rent it when you leave."
Right.
And he said, one day you'll look up and you're going to have a few houses and somebody else will have paid for them for you.
Excellent.
And you'll be worth something. And I never forgot that.
Right.
My dad always owned houses. We never rented. He didn't believe in that. And he built the house that he used for a rental for supplemental income. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I landed in a station, a duty station that I was going to be for some time, I bought my first house. And my dad came to look at it with me, and it was using a VA loan, no money down.
Smart.
And my dad gave me $50 to help with my down payment.
How much was the down payment?
The down payment was $0. I didn't have to have a down payment because it was a VA and no money down. And I put $50 down on the house.
How much was that house, by the way?
$28,250.
Wow.
I still own it. I bought that house in 1971.
Okay.
I still own it, and it's worth about $400 now.
Wow.
And it's been paid for long ago.
Right.
And so every month somebody. I have a tenant in there who has been in there. This is 18. He's been in there for 30 years.
Wow.
So
he's wow.
He can't afford to move.
Right.
I have golden handcuffs on him. He can't afford to move because I keep his rent so low and so steady that if he left to rent and rented that same house next door, he would probably be paying 70% more than he's paying.
Wow.
But he can do anything.
Nice.
He can build the house.
Wow.
He repairs everything.
Right.
So my maintenance is almost zero. Every now and then something goes out and I have to spend a couple $1,000.
Right.
But that's very rare. Everything that comes up, he takes care of because he knows he is saving on the rent.
Right.
So he's taking care of me, I'm taking care of him. And it's a cash cow. It just gives me supplemental income every month.
Right.
And of course, I keep a line of credit on it. So when I need to go venture out, I have always access to cash,
Right.
Easy access that I can, seize opportunities.
Right.
And so I just started buying houses. When I left there, I went to Korea and I came back to Hampton. I kept that house, rented it, bought another house.
Right.
And then I left Hampton and went to Italy and came back. Kept the one in Hampton and came back to the D.C. area and bought one in Fort Washington.
Right.
While I was in Italy, my property manager in Hampton, who was a young, aggressive man, he said, look, when you come back, I want you to have more houses. I'm buying houses, flipping houses, doing stuff. So he was buying some townhouses, some duplexes and fixing them up.
Right.
So I bought 2 duplexes with him, got for nothing fit, and rented those.
Right,
And then
right.
ultimately I sold them when I came back and bought a house for me to live in Fort Washington. Then he was building 3 duplexes in Hampton. I took one of them.
Right.
Bought it for $90,000. This is back in '83. I bought it for $90,000. It's long since been paid for, and it's just giving me, and I keep a line of credit on it, so I have access to money.
Right.
So another lesson that I got from a Hamptonian, I came back to homecoming after my first year out, and leaving the homecoming, I encountered a guy who was secretary to college, Robert Leisure. I used to drive for him. That's how I paid my way through school. I used to drive everything that the university had on wheels. And he stopped me, and we talked as we were leaving the stadium, and he said, asked me what was I doing, and I told him, and he said, look, let me give you a tip. Take $40 a month and buy mutual funds and never touch it. And just buy mutual funds. Sometimes you buy high, sometimes you buy low, but it'll average out. And one day you look up and you're going to have a nice piece of money.
Right.
And so I heeded his advice. I tried to get buddies to form an investment club and join me. They wouldn't, but I started buying mutual funds.
$40 a month.
Yeah. And when I came in the Army, I bought savings bonds. Because my parents were older and I wanted to make sure my younger brother, who was 12 years younger, would have the opportunity to get an education. Didn't know if my parents would be well enough and could afford to send him. So I bought the savings bonds and sent them home to my parents and had a big old stack of bonds so that when he was ready to go to college, I could help my parents to see that he was educated as well. And so
okay, that was amazing. So no, that's awesome. So when you're growing up, it's about the hustle.
Yeah.
Like it's all about you understanding about money management. You learning that from your dad when you guys there would be high times and low times.
Yeah.
And so you learned, and then you also were very generous in terms of understanding that your money that you were working for when you were working on the boat with your dad, when he had to fire the adult to hire you, that was figured into your family income. And that generosity allowed for a lot of good things to happen for you, which is it pushed you to go out to do other things to get spending money for yourself. Like, are we spoiling kids today? Because I don't think they have that type of hustle, that type of desire. I was 12 when I had my first paper out.
Yeah.
And I was out hustling every morning at 5.
Well, my son doesn't, who's in the business with me, doesn't have the same hustle. And yes, I spoiled him because I could afford to give him, and the pressures on him are different. Right. Where he lived and to go anywhere, to get to the store, to go play, it was different from where we were in the community, and everything. You didn't venture very far, and everything was contained, and it was safer, and you were freer. So I had gotten to the point as when he was a teenager that I could afford more. So I wanted him to be a good child and have options.
Right.
And to play ball, he had to go further than I did. He
Right.
had to be, so it was a real different world.
Right.
When he went to Hampton, went to college, I said, your full-time job is to be a good student.
Right.
My full-time job is to be able to send you.
Right.
And when he was 1 month old, I had bought in 5 financial planners.
Wow.
And I gave him the guidance. When he gets ready to go to college in 18 years, I want him to be able to go where he wants to go and be able to afford it. And I don't want my lifestyle to change to do it.
Right.
And so from that day, I started planning his education. I mean, planning for his future.
Right.
I made a commitment to him to see him through his master's,
Right.
first house, and first car.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I've done all of those.
Nice.
And so I started planning for that before he was a month old. I did a joint trust agreement, me and his mom. So if we got something happen to us, we knew that who was going to raise him,
Right.
who was going to manage his
Right.
money and
Right.
set all of that up.
Right.
So during that planning process, one of the planners came in and gave me a tip that changed my life.
Okay.
He told me there are 3 things you got to plan for, 3 eventualities,
Right.
and you got to plan for them. One, if you live and you are able-bodied and you live a long time, what kind of quality of life you want all your life? What do you want to do?
Right.
And you got to plan for that. So if you live and you're able-bodied and you're healthy, what kind of quality of life you want? This next thing that can happen is you can live and you become disabled.
Right.
What kind of quality of life do you want for yourself and your family,
Right.
and how are you going to make it under that circumstances? The next circumstance you had to plan for, if you die, what do you want for your family?
Right.
So those are your 3 major considerations in your planning, and you have to build your planning strategy around those.
Right.
And then I built my strategy around those 3
Nice.
from that day.
Right.
And so I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm able-bodied, and so I want to do some stuff at this point in my
Right,
life.
right.
I'm able to do it because I started back then
Nice.
in planning to make it happen.
Right.
And I learned that the 20 years in the Army, I couldn't make enough money in the Army to do all the things I wanted to do.
Right.
So I had to have supplemental income.
Right.
So, the houses and holding on to the houses gave me an opportunity to accumulate. The other thing happened to me, and this was serendipitous. I was an intelligence officer here in Washington. Nixon was president.
Right.
Nixon's taxes were in the paper. Trump wouldn't put his taxes in, but we saw
Right.
Nixon's tax, and Nixon didn't pay any taxes. He had 0 taxes
Right.
because he had all the tax write-off.
Sure.
I got mad.
Right.
I couldn't talk for 3 days. So if the president don't pay taxes, why am I paying taxes?
Right.
So I left Washington and went to Korea. And when I came back from Korea to Hampton, the first thing that I did was went to HR Block and sign up to take an income tax course.
Awesome.
I wanted to learn about the income tax and how to take advantage of the income tax so I could get to 0 income like the Nixon.
Yeah.
So one of the things I learned that VA benefits was not taxable income. So if I go get a master's, VA would pay for it and give me the money, but the tuition was tax deductible.
Right.
But the income
Oh.
that VA was giving me wasn't taxable income.
Wow.
So I wrote it off. and I wrote off all the things related to me going to school, getting my papers typed and meals and all of that stuff.
Right.
So I got a master's to save on income tax.
That's excellent.
And then
That's smart.
I got a second graduate degree.
Right.
Rather than lose the benefits, because I use them or lose them.
Right.
So if I go get a second degree, graduate degree, the VA is going to give me the money. I write it off. I'm making money by getting a graduate degree.
Right.
So I got a graduate degree.
Right.
The other thing I did was I always claimed zero dependents.
Right.
All year on my income, withholdings.
Right.
And so I knew I was going to, paying in more money than I needed to be paying in. But at the end of the year, I got this refund, and now I can use it to do something.
Right. A lump sum.
A lump sum of money.
Yeah.
That just came
Right.
manna from heaven.
Right.
So I remember one year my wife got a pay raise, and she had gotten her master's, and she got a longevity raise, so she got a nice little pay raise, and I had gotten a raise in the Army. I took all my money, and I had gotten into cars. I always loved cars.
Right.
So I had bought an Austin Healey,
Nice.
and I saw one on base one day, and the guy told me he wanted to sell it. So I took my pay raise money and bought the second Austin Healey.
Wow.
And so now I got two Austin Healey's and a 56 Thunderbird.
Right.
My family life didn't change. My commitment to the family didn't change.
Right.
Because I took the pay raise and I put it there.
Right. And you already have your investment properties.
And I've got my investment properties.
Right.
So then I sold the first Austin Healey. I bought it for $2,500.
Right.
And I sold it a few years later for $42.
Wow. Double.
And I enjoyed the car.
Right. You drove
So
it.
people ask me, why you got so many cars? I say, you tell me where else you can invest money and make money and enjoy it.
That's right. That's right.
You put your money in the bank, you don't enjoy it.
No, you don't.
You put it in these properties and make money, you're making money,
Right.
but you're not enjoying it.
Right.
I'm enjoying these cars,
Right.
and I'm making money.
Right.
So I sold that Austin Healey and made money. I bought, when I went to Italy, I bought a Maserati. I sold it. I bought it for $6,500. I sold it for $14,000. I bought a Mercedes for $1,800 that I sold for $35,000. And the first Healey that I bought, I just discovered that it was a rare Healey. It was gold. I bought it. It was red. And
Right.
when I got ready to do some restoration work, I discovered that it was originally a gold Healey.
Right.
They are very rare. They sell for around $100,000.
Wow.
So, and I enjoy it.
Right.
So my cars made money for me. My hobby
that's
made
amazing.
money. I enjoy it. And so.
Now, how did you know that they were going to make money? Like how? Because cars traditionally
Well,
go
I-
down in value.
Well, traditionally, in the average car, I bought it rare cars.
Right.
Austin Healey stopped being made in 1967.
Got it.
It was a rare car. So the value was going to go up.
And you have one in the garage.
I
now,
have
right?
one now.
Yeah. It's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. The Thunderbird, they made the two-seater Thunderbird 3 years, 55, 56, 57. So
Right.
rare car. So the Maserati that I had, they only made 850 of them per year for 4 years.
Okay.
So it's a rare car.
So-
I sold it and made money. I sold it because I got a divorce. They had nowhere to keep it and was sitting outside, so I wasn't serving the car well. Now I want my car back, and I went looking for one. It'll take $200,000 to buy one.
Oh no.
So I made money, but look where it is now.
Right,
if I
right.
had been able to keep it.
Right.
So you don't cry over that.
Right.
The water is gone, but I had did all right with where I was.
Absolutely.
So you look, your attitude, money, fiscal management, money matters, is all about attitude. when Michael got ready to go to college, got ready to graduate from high school, he came in one day, he was crying. He was angry.
Right.
And his best friend in high school was a young lady who was number one in their class, Val Victorian. Mm-hmm. She was commander of the ROTC. Okay. She was president of the student government. She was everything. She was it.
Right.
But she wanted to go to North Carolina State to major in aeronautical engineering. She couldn't go. She thought she couldn't go because the family couldn't afford it.
Right.
So she was going to apply to Delaware State.
Right.
Where she could afford.
Right.
Didn't want to go.
Right.
But that's where she thought she was going to have to go, land, because she had no money.
Right.
And Michael came in, he was upset, and he was crying, and said, Dad, I don't understand. It's not fair. It's not fair. She is better than me. She is good. And she can't go where she wants to go, and I can go anywhere I want. That's not fair.
Right.
And so I sat him down, and we had a lesson on fairness. It was fair.
Right.
I happen to know her dad. We went to the same church. Her stepmother sang in the choir.
Right.
I observed something about their lifestyle.
Right.
I told Mike, I said, fair. Remember me telling you the story when you were a month old, I started planning?
Right.
So when her dad and all the other people were taking their money and enjoying it, I was investing in you being able to go to college.
Right.
So when her dad was buying new suits, new cars,
you were putting in investments.
I was planning for you to go to college.
Right.
So I was denying myself, and he was taking vacations I couldn't take.
Right.
He was taking trips I couldn't take.
Right.
He was going to restaurants that I didn't go to.
Right.
He was hanging out. He was living in nice, bigger houses and he was living in the moment differently than I was able to live. Right. Because my focus was on living well, but planning well as well. Right. And so I denied myself, and he didn't. Was that fair to me to have to deny and not have and not? Right. No, life isn't fair. Life is your attitude about the money, and you setting priorities and dreaming about what you want and how to get there.
Right. So you were selfless, and they were selfish.
I'm not going to call them that, but I'm going to say they weren't focused on money. Right. They would probably share their wealth and their income and their money with their daughter. They tried to spend. Everybody enjoyed. Everybody had a good time, but they didn't have a plan. Right. You plan for success, or you plan for mediocrity or to failure. Right. So I was planning. I remember one night I was laying in bed and I wanted to get my car painted. My Mercedes had been scratched up. It was time to get it painted. And I was laying in the bed and I was just staring at the ceiling. And my wife asked me and said, "What are you thinking about so much?" I say, "Well, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get my car painted. Right. And how I'm going to get where the money is going to come from. Because I'm not going to change my commitment to the family to do this outside extra stuff." Right. So I used to travel on the Army on temporary duty, and you could make some extra money doing that. And there were some ways I could make some extra money. So I was counting up all the little extra money that I was making and how I was going to do this and hold that money to pay for this thing. Right. And she said, "All you care about is money." And I said, "I don't give a hoot about the money. I care about what the things I can do with the money. Right. And I need the money to do that." Right. When we had a breakdown in our relationship, and one of the issues we fought about was the first house that I bought. That house was $28,000. Right. She wanted to sell it. Why? And we then would have made maybe $4,000 or $5,000. Right. She wanted to sell it and take the money and take a vacation. Oh no. And I argued, and we fought, and I wouldn't do it. I wasn't going to sell it. Right. We going to marital counseling And she brought that up in counseling.
Wow.
That everything has to be his way. I wanted to sell the house and take the money and take a vacation, and he wouldn't do it. And had to do it his way.
Right.
And it was a good decision, but he had, and I said, you got to be crazy.
Right.
So the other thing that I believe is that this country is full of opportunities, unlike any other. Right. I was doing a training session in San Diego. I met a woman who was Korean, had been in this country for 3 years. Right. She was a millionaire.
Wow, 3 years.
Came here with nothing.
So
real estate.
Right, real estate. So she got to millionaire
just
status
buying and selling houses, flipping and making money.
Right.
Buying a depressed something, doing something to it. Everybody living in there, fixing it up while they lived in there, and then sold it and got out there and bought another one and fixed it up and sold it. And she was
right.
In 3 years. She said, Americans walk around complaining all the time
right.
about what they don't have.
That's right.
I walk around seeing opportunities.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Seeing opportunities.
That's amazing.
And the lesson I got from her is seeing opportunities.
Right.
So I'm always scanning, looking for opportunities. So I'm a walker, and I get out of here at 5 o'clock in the morning and walking around the neighborhood. And when I'm walking, I pick up coins that I find laying out.
Right.
And I save them. I got a jar of coins upstairs that I pick up from walking.
Right.
And I don't call them coins.
Right.
I call them opportunities.
Right. In fact, when you told me that prior, I started doing the exact same thing.
So it's a metaphor.
No, seriously.
I do it to keep me thinking and keep me aware and keep me looking for opportunities.
That's right. Right.
So you never know when they're gonna appear.
Right.
And so every now and then I find $5.
Right.
Or I found one time $1.50 worth of change. It's like somebody dumped it out of the ashtray and didn't want it. And
right.
I've been there and picked it all up. It was
through the ash.
It was a big opportunity today.
Right.
So how do you couple that with the thing you said earlier about generosity and growing up? And how does it all come together? I have a friend who's like a goddaughter to me. She got married.
Right.
She married a guy who's an attorney, and he had left his job with the IRS and started practice. And they bought a house, and they weren't in it 6 months. And he got an offer to join a more prestigious law firm down in Chesapeake.
Right.
So he accepted the job and then moved. They couldn't sell the house and get their money back,
right.
and needed to buy something in Chesapeake.
Right.
And they had no more money for down payment. And so she came to me and asked to lend her some money.
Right.
And I said, why do you come to me? She said, because you family. And you the only one in the family that I think will have the money.
Right.
So I lent him the money, no contract, no promissory note, nothing. And she said, 4 months, 5 months. I said, fine. And I said, if you need it sooner, call me. I said, okay. I just gave him the money on faith. And 5-6 months came when they didn't pay me on time.
Right.
I didn't need it, so I didn't say anything.
Right.
And so a couple months passed. I hinted, you guys okay?
Right.
If you're okay, you can pay me the money. If you're not, just say so. And they asked, can we a couple more months?
Right.
Fine, go ahead. So they gave me all my money back. Didn't charge him any interest. Well, now Edwin is in this law firm, and opportunities are coming through.
Right.
And he remembers me.
Right.
So he had a house in an estate in Virginia Beach that he steered me to. I got the house, kept it for 6 months, flipped it, and made $72,000.
Wow.
6 months.
Wow.
Because he loves me. We are like brothers
right.
now, because I was generous and I was there when he needed me.
Right.
He got me another house that I bought in Portsmouth for $42,000. I rented it for 6 or 8 years. I paid for it from the rental receipts,
Right.
and then I decided I was going to unload it. And it was a church down the street that wanted it because
Right.
it wanted to expand.
Right.
So I sold it to the church, and for $150, I had bought it for $142,
Right.
but I sold it to them for like $110, and then gave them 2 deeds. One deed was a gift, where I gifted them $40,000.
Right.
So now my capital gains
Right.
were wiped out by the gift.
Right.
It was,
No, that's
it was to say
amazing.
they didn't care what the house was. They would give me a gift. Give me a deed, say $75,000.
Right.
So I have taken the IRS course now.
Right.
Remember?
Taking advantage of the
You remember?
taxes.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
Now,
that's great.
see,
Yeah.
it comes together.
No, that's
The
great.
generosity, the leveraging money, and the IRS course. It all comes together. So I was prepared for the moment, and I was ready for the moment.
Right.
So I turned a profit and made it. Then I could take the money and put it in something else.
Right.
I had a friend who I was her first babysitter. She ended up losing her house. She was getting ready to lose it foreclosure, and she was moving. And so I bought it out of foreclosure and saved it. I gave her some money where she was going to get nothing.
Right.
I gave her some money. I kept the house.
Right.
And then I sold it for more than 5 times what I bought it for.
That's amazing.
And
you were generous in that.
and I was
regard.
generous with her, kept her credit.
Right.
So she now owns 2 houses.
Right. Which is awesome.
But she never, went into foreclosure where she was headed, because I paid off the loan, maintained her credit,
Right.
and gave her some money. So when she got on her feet, she had resources to buy again.
Right.
So I helped her.
Right.
One day I was at my mother's house, and my sister came in the kitchen, and my sister was there, and my brother-in-law. And my sister was a little despondent. And my brother, and she said, Tommy is so upset. His sister had died.
Right.
Left the house in Columbia to his niece.
Right.
His niece was getting ready, had no mortgage, had money, spent up all her money, took loans against the house,
Oh my goodness.
and couldn't pay them.
Right.
She took one second mortgage. She never paid one note on it. She had no money. And the shysters just lent it to her because they were going to take the house.
Right.
And so I said, Tommy, she going to lose the house. I'll buy the house. He said, really? I said, yeah, I'll buy it. He said, but it's going in foreclosure. I said, I know what to do.
Right.
So I got an attorney, put her in bankruptcy.
Right.
Stopped the foreclosure sale.
Right.
Then I wrote a contract, took it to the bankruptcy judge,
Right.
where I paid off all the notes and gave her a piece of money,
Nice. Right.
and I got the house, and then I sold it I rented it, and the rent paid everything I had in it,
Right.
and it helped me buy a boat and some other
Right.
things, and then I decided to sell it, and I sold it for 5 times what I put in it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
how did you learn how to look? Well, obviously looking for opportunities, being generous, and so is that from looking at the coins? So how did you?
It's a mindset. It's a
Right.
mindset.
Good.
So it started when I was a kid, always looking to hustle.
Right.
Remember we talked about me hustling,
Right.
looking for lost golf balls,
Right. Right.
caddying,
Right.
doing anything,
Right.
washing people's cars, pumping water
Right.
out of the boat, always looking for a way to make a
money.
dollar,
Right.
and so that I could be independent,
Right.
and have options in my life.
Right.
So you're always looking, and then when you have that mindset, the universe brings it to you.
Absolutely.
See, it's the law of sowing and reaping.
Right.
You reap in accordance with what you sow. You put
Right.
something out there. Another thing happened, and God, it's so funny talking about all these things and all of these pivotal points in my life. one of my friends, the guy who did all my framing for all my artwork,
Right.
he worked for the school board in Prince George's County.
Right.
And one day we were talking, I said, Butch, I'm going to retire in 2 weeks. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, man, I went to personnel and I asked him, if I retire, how much money would I get? And he said, what? I went, what? Why am I coming to work?
Right. Right.
I ain't coming no more.
Right.
He retired. And so he told me how much he was going to have. Well, I never thought about a number for me.
Right. Right.
And that next day, I sat down and said, if I retire right now, how much money would I have coming in per year?
Right.
And then I set a goal. I want to have what he had.
Right.
And then I got there. And then I kept raising it and raising it and raising it.
Right.
And then I got it to a new level. I want to retire this, which was more than twice where I started with my first goal.
Right.
I want to retire at this level, and I don't want any bills, no mortgage, no nothing.
Right.
And so then I just start working to make it happen. Because when you claim it and you set it out there, the universe kind of puts you in a way to make it happen.
Right.
So then all of these things were coming because I needed those things to come to reach this goal.
Right.
Is that making any sense?
Right. Yeah. No,
so you set goals and you work toward and you start putting energy out there. Most people don't tell you their personal business and tell you how much they're going to get in retirement.
Right.
We don't do stuff like that.
Right.
But Mouse was generous. He talked about it, and he had nothing to hide. He wasn't bragging.
Right.
It was no big deal.
Right.
But it was instructive and helpful to me.
Absolutely. And that's why I love our conversation. Because
I learned so much talking to you. That's good.
Right. It's just, I mean, I don't think people talk about money enough.
We don't.
And that's a major problem.
We don't. We don't understand it because there's no conversation about it. And that's why I like talking to you, and that's why I admire so much what you are doing in the classroom.
Right.
And I mean, you have to be taught it, and it's conversational, and you pass it around, and you ask questions, and you see. But when folk don't see you doing anything but hustling and getting it and having and accumulating, and so You don't understand it. You don't understand what it is.
Right.
People just don't understand. I got a friend. I'm her daughter's godfather. She has a townhouse in Hampton.
Right.
She started dating this guy, and she moved in and lived with him.
Okay.
He was an older guy.
Right.
She was having to take care of him.
Right.
And he had some income streams.
Right.
He died.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves her the house.
Right.
And a few other dollars. And so she continues to live in his house. The house that he left her house.
Right.
Her townhouse has been sitting empty for at least 20 years.
What? Oh no. Are you kidding me? 20 years?
She pays the mortgage.
20 years?
She pays the utilities. She goes by there and sees about it.
20 years?
But it's empty.
I mean, wow.
She doesn't rent it. She doesn't get a penny from it. It just sits there.
That is absolutely...
Her car, the paint is peeling off of it.
Oh, no.
She doesn't really go... Since he died, and because they used to go to Vegas every Christmas for a week, and that was a big deal. Now she doesn't go anywhere. I mean, she has money. She lives a comfortable, modest lifestyle.
Right.
She got money sitting there.
Yeah, that's what, 20 years? I'm trying to do some calculations on that.
Yeah, how much money are you throwing away? Yeah, because you don't understand money.
Right.
I got another friend in Hampton whose mother and grandmother died and left her properties, and she owned 2 houses sitting there right in adjoining lots. And one of them is an old house, or real old house, and the other one is a little bit modern, just a little bungalow. And they are unrented because she only wants a military person. Right. Because if they don't pay, she can go on the base and get the military to jack them up, and she'll get her money.
Right.
But she only advertises and looks for it. And so the house has been sitting empty.
For how long?
Vacant. She had, in the last 5 years, I think one of them may have been rented a year, and one of them hasn't been rented at all in the last 5 years.
Right.
I went in there and said, hey, you need to put some money in there. Who wants to come in here? You need to do this, 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 and this.
Right.
And she's finally gone in there and put some money in it and done those things. Now I got a property that's rentable,
Right.
but she only advertises through that one source. And I say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Right.
No, I don't want a Section 8 because, and I had a Section 8. You were judging everybody in the Section 8 community by that one person.
Right. Right. Which is wrong.
Yeah. Well, I don't want this in front of me. Well, what do you got in front of you now?
Right.
An ugly ass house that ain't giving you no money.
Right. 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 Right.
So you know,
crazy.
but they don't. And when I talk to her about the stock market or something, she say, "Okay, you're making money. When you gonna spend it?"
Right.
Her big question is when you gonna spend it, not what stocks are you buying.
Right.
When are you
Right.
trying to understand
Right.
stocks, understanding margin,
Right.
understand buying low and selling high. She ain't
Right.
trying to understand the tax consequences and tax plan and stuff. She don't want to know none of that. She want to know when you gonna spend the money.
So how do people who haven't had the childhood that you have and who hadn't had the advice that you had along the way, like when, you know, the person says $40 a month and, you know, when you started, you know, the 5 people you brought in when your son was born and they gave you some great advice there, how would you recommend someone get the mindset of the wealthy mindset?
Yeah. We don't understand wealth. We understand poverty more as a people. We are consumers rather than builders and accumulators.
Right.
How do you get there? You got to get in a conversation.
Right.
You got to be curious. You got to want. I would say, where do we start? In all of our institutions, our churches, we need to teach it.
Right.
We need to, we need to talk it in our boys' clubs. Get kids involved in boys and girls clubs.
Right.
We teach it in scouting. You and I have to do it. I admire again what you're doing in the school. We have to teach it in the schools.
Right.
We have to mentor each other.
Right.
We have to. I got 2 kids now. I was a big brother in Big Brothers back in 75.
Right.
Kenny and Gary now are in their 50s, 55 or something. So we've been together a long time. Kenny and Gary had no dreams of going anywhere.
Wow.
All they were doing was getting in trouble.
Right.
Their mom, Kenny's mom said, you know, I can't find anything. So Kenny had an older brother, but he was away in the army. So he wasn't there when Kenny was 12, 13 and on.
Right.
So she went to Big Brothers, signed up for Big Brothers. I was matched with him. And we hit it. And I used to take him everywhere with me.
Right.
Come over my house, cut grass. We're
Right.
going to do all the stuff.
Right.
And I did. Kenny now is in San Diego. He is a master welder.
Nice.
Kenny said there are 5 wells, and guys master one of those. He said, I'm a master on all of them.
Wow.
And so when I come, they got to pay me.
Right. Right.
His buddy Gary, I was on campus in Hampton for homecoming one day, and I was walking down through the tailgate, and this big old guy stopped me and said, hey, aren't you Butch? And I said, yeah. He said, you remember me? I said, your face, but I said, don't stop me lying.
Right,
He said,
right.
I'm Gary. I'm Gary Austin's, Kenny's boy. Gary, I started screaming. I ain't seen Gary in 40 years. So Gary said, come on, and took me over under the tent. And he had the tent. It was his tailgate. He told me, turn the music off. Everybody come in. So he called for 30, 35 people in.
Right.
I knew many of them.
Right.
And he started talking and say, I want to introduce y'all to somebody.
Right.
I want to introduce you to Butch. You were here because of Butch. I looked at him. What the hell is wrong with you? He said, I'm here because of Butch.
Wow.
He said, this is the person who taught me how to be a man.
Wow. That's powerful.
He taught me what being a man was. See, he was Kenny Martin's big brother, but he took me, Kenny, and Andre, and he taught all of us.
Wow.
My life changed when I met Butch.
Wow.
He taught me to be a man. Gary owns his HVAC business in Hampton now.
Nice.
And now I got rental properties there. Gary just put a unit in for me this week.
Okay. We got 5 minutes here.
Okay.
Okay. So
now we get to my business. My main business is Powell Consulting.
Right.
We do organizational development and training. And that is a way of me doing something that I had passion about, but making money.
Right.
And now my nephew is in the business with my son.
Nice.
And my great nephew. And my nephew brings something new to us, systems engineering and integration.
Right.
And that is where we are now growing and expanding. And so we are now grown. We're still small. We have about 7 people on the payroll now.
That's good.
And we are right at the cusp that we about to break through and hope to be hiring more people in the coming months.
Nice.
And
so what would you do if you were starting out today?
I didn't tell you I own the marina in the story about how I got that. If I was starting a business today, the first thing you have to do is to get clear about what business you are in.
Right.
What you have to sell.
Right.
You are bringing some product or service to somebody.
Right.
You have to get clear about what that is.
Right.
What you have that's worth somebody paying for.
Right.
Or what you can create that somebody has paying for.
Right.
And what is it that somebody needs out there that you can supply.
Right. Right.
And so people want to go in business, but they just want to go in business, but they don't think about what business, what am I good at, what did I got, what do I understand,
right.
and what products and service that I have for what market.
Right.
You got to be clear about that.
Right.
You got to be clear of that. This is what you want to do.
Right.
Because owning and running a business is not the same as taking a job. Right. My son told me one day, I asked Mike when he was 10 years old, I said, Mike, you want to own a business? He said, no, Dad. I said, why? He said, Dad, you own a business, you never off duty.
Right.
You think about it all the time.
Right.
Say you own a job, you go to work, you come home, you're done.
Right.
And he was
That's
right.
true.
He was spot on. He understood it. And he told me one time he wouldn't give me golf shoes for Father's Day because I wouldn't play golf anymore because I was afraid to take off anytime for the business. The business becomes your life. It becomes your baby. You have to plan it the same way I planned for Michael's education and more. You have to commit everything you got to make it work. And you got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to suffer. You got to be willing to step back. And you got to have the stomach to take on the challenges and the hard times.
Absolutely.
Because there is no straight line to success.
No.
All the lines to success are curved and crooked and jointed and broken. And they go forward and come back. And then they go forward again. They go up. They go down. And you got to constantly be reassessing where you are and what you're doing. Right. You got to be humble enough to say, I didn't get it right, and stop. You got to be willing to let go when it ain't working and move in another lane for what is working. You can't get married to the process or the product. You can't get married to the dream, except the larger dream. Right. But you got to be constantly reassessing where you are and what you're doing and constantly working to improve. The one lesson I got from another guy who went to my church, he was a millionaire and
We're under 1 minute here.
Okay, he died poor.
Right.
He said the only deal you get into is one that benefits you and the other person. If it doesn't benefit both of you,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Always look at giving more value than you're getting paid for.
Nice.
and
Right.
that keeps you in business a long time. And so you dream big, and if you dream big, you want big things, you work for big things. I didn't dream to have big things and big business. I enjoyed doing the work. So I found my sweet spot in doing the work, but constantly growing and building, and here I am.
So we got 5 seconds. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was awesome. That was really awesome. We're going to have to do this again. Thank you. And I think that's